Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for today's reading vlog. We are going to be reading The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I have been looking at this book in bookstores for a long time and I just never picked it up, and I really have no reason to why I haven't read it yet, but I looked it up on Goodreads the other day and it had over 1 million ratings and it had a very high average rating of almost 4 stars. So I'm just really excited to read this book, to dive into it. And so yeah, in this video, we're gonna read this together. I'm gonna just vlog anytime I read this book and just keep vlogging until I finish it, and then I'll give my rating and review of it at the end. So let's just dive right in and start reading this book. Good morning everybody. It is day 2 of our Midnight Library reading vlog. I am really enjoying this book so far. One thing I do want to note is that there are some heavy topics discussed in this book that I've already kind of realized right away, and I didn't know that before I read the book because I went into this pretty blind on what it was about. So just maybe look up any trigger warnings for this book because it does talk about some sensitive topics. With that being said, I'm really enjoying the writing style of this book, and I love that the chapters are really short. They're only like 1 or 2 pages per chapter, which is very interesting and definitely is making it seem very fast-paced. I read 60 pages yesterday, so I am a good chunk of the way through this book, and I'm hoping to read a lot today because I'm just getting really invested with the main character Nora, and I want to see how it kind of plays out with the Midnight Library. So if you don't know, and this is on the back of the book so it's not a spoiler, the Midnight Library is basically a collection of books with which each book represents an alternate path of your life. So that's how Nora kind of ends up in this library, because her life is just not going the way she wants it to. And in this library, every book is literally like kind of like a decision she made, and then she can go back in that book and like be like, oh, what if I did this differently? And then it would be how her life plays out, which is such an interesting like concept of a book. And I feel like that's just very relatable because I think everyone has some of those like big decisions that you make where it's like it could change the trajectory of your life, and even like some small decisions, like how would that affect your life long term. So it's definitely making me think about my own life, and yeah, that's always what I look for when I read like a fiction book, is just like emotional depth, and also just a book that makes you think about your own life. So I'm really enjoying it so far, and we are going to be reading some of this right now. I just finished reading The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, and I just really want to talk about this book. I read this book in 2 days, in really just 2 sittings. I read the first 60 pages yesterday, and then I read the remaining like 220 pages today. Wow, crazy. And I have a lot of thoughts about this book. First and foremost, I do want to say that you should look up any trigger warnings for this book because it does kind of talk about heavy topics, a lot of heavy topics throughout this book. But that is what I think the strength of this book really is that it touches on so many parts of life that are scary and overwhelming, and that a lot of books just kind of ignore because they try to be that escape. But this book just kind of tackles them all, and I love how the author wrote it. It was very well written. The chapters are only a few pages at a time, which makes it really fast to get through. So this book follows Nora, who is really down on herself. Her life is just not what she hoped it would be, and it's kind of all like falling apart. And that's when she kind of enters the Midnight Library, where every book in this library is a different like sort of life or path that she could live. And it just kind of shows like the power of the decisions you make and how it can affect your life, and also just how like your life is not set in stone. Like there are so many different lives you can live and so many different versions of yourself that you could be. And I found that really inspiring, and it kind of just made me like analyze my own life. Like, what would my life look like if I went to this college instead of the one I went to? Or even something like, what if I didn't read this book and I picked up another romance instead? So I just really like this book. I love the writing style especially. Like, I want to get more by Matt Haig, this author. I'm gonna look up more of his books and definitely read more because, I don't know, I love emotional books. I'm kind of over just like the cheesy books. Well, I'm not completely over them, but I'm over only reading like cheesy, heartfelt books. Like, sometimes I want to actually like feel things and really like think about life, and this is definitely the book if you're looking for that. Overall, I am giving this book 4.5 stars, which is not a 5-star because I know there are other books that kind of talk about similar topics that I've enjoyed more, but this was a really great book, a really great read. I have been thinking about it ever since I stopped reading it, and yeah, definitely recommend this, but again, just look up any trigger warnings for that. Now that I have finished reading The Midnight Library, that concludes this reading vlog. Thank you all for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for future reading vlogs, and I hope to see you all in the next one.